This is Odessa in southern Ukraine. Its streets are lined with cafes. It has a relatively young population, a beautiful Black Sea coastline, and a major international port.
During the Second World War, Odessa put up such a fight that afterwards the Kremlin honored it with the title Hero City. Today, the Kremlin is bent on Odessa's capitulation and capture.
Russia went through a series of policies to do what they called Russification in the 1700s under Catherine the Great, so this goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. Those policies involved everything from settling ethnic Russians in those regions to forbidding people from speaking the Ukrainian language. It continued well into the 20th century. Stalin essentially orchestrated this massive famine that killed millions of people in Ukraine. After that, they increased the resettlement of Russians into Ukraine. You were left with a Ukraine that looked very different. Parts of the country were much more likely to speak Russian, be culturally Russian, be ethnically Russian, and it's had a lasting impact on the country as a whole.
Russia is a great country, and historically, we are one people, one nation, this woman tells me. The territory of Odessa is Russia, she says.
Because most of Odessa's people are Russian-speaking, they've received their news from Russian news channels.
I think it wasn't a good decision to cut those channels off from our air space, basically, the TV coverage space, but it was needed because we're already seeing some first results. I mean, some people who were really brainwashed, they now cannot watch those TV stations, and now deliberately or reluctantly, they're switching to some local channels or to Ukrainian TV channels, and some of those people's attitudes are changing a little bit, shifting a little bit.
当代国与国之间的战争，不少原因可回溯到过往的领土划分、主权归属或国家承认留下的隔阂或分歧。苏联解体后独立的乌克兰，在形塑乌克兰国家意识和遗留的俄罗斯影响下拉扯。2014年，乌克兰多地爆发的抗议动乱，部分就是主张乌克兰团结自主和主张回归俄国必应这两派人马之间的冲突。地理位置上远离莫斯科的西南部海港城奥德萨，人口约莫100万，是俄罗斯帝国时期下蓬勃发展的大都会城市，遗留丰富的俄国文化和历史。不少居民情感上更靠近莫斯科，就见证了两道势力针锋相对的悲剧。
On May 2nd, 2014, the building behind me entered Ukrainian history. There had been clashes between both pro-Ukrainian groups and pro-Russian rebel groups here outside. But as the day ended, many people took refuge in that building, and a fire broke out. Over 40 people died.
哈尔科夫人权保护团体的报告指，2014年5月2号，支持俄罗斯的抗议者和支持乌克兰的示威者爆发血腥冲突，造成火烧工会大楼的惨剧。社会因为政治倾向不同分裂，造成重大伤亡，震撼了这个被称为欧洲的犹太首都、包容多元种族的奥德萨。
Ukraine is Ukraine. No one was going to separate it in the way the media shows it, mostly national media. Odessa was never for the separation of Ukraine.
Because of the last developments in the east and in Crimea, Odessa became the Ukrainian city by its consciousness, by its identification.
亲俄的奥德萨民众急往加入新俄罗斯的念头，在2014年一连串的冲突下熄灭。普丁在2014年4月的国营媒体问答上，和同年8月的总统声明上，都提及新俄罗斯这个历史词汇，也就是指俄罗斯帝国时期下黑海以北地区，包括乌克兰的顿内茨克、哈尔科夫、 赫尔松、卢甘斯克、尼古拉耶夫和奥德萨等地，这些地区对普丁而言，有史以来就是属于俄罗斯的一部分。
The port city of Odessa is seen as the next strategic target for Russian forces, and airstrikes are beginning to hit the city and damage its infrastructure.
But shells started to land here. Just look at this impact on the road here where one of the shells exploded. And when shells hit and make an impact, they're designed to break up into thousands of pieces of shrapnel. And the effect is pretty obvious to see here on this building.
There are two important issues. Firstly, it is a demonstration of firepower and psychological pressure. And secondly, they are trying to carry out reconnaissance and find out the locations of our air and coastal defenses.
奥德萨既是乌克兰的军事要地，为海军总部所在地，也是海运生命线，处理乌克兰65%的海运进出口品。当中，黑海深水港、奥德萨商业海港每年可处理达4000万吨大宗货物，还是石油和天然气转运港，每年运送共约2550万吨的油气。虽然商运因战争停止，奥德萨依旧掌握乌克兰重要的军事补给路线，俄国地面部队持续尝试推进，海军炮弹打入港湾区，居民相信俄军屠城将无可避免。
I would love that Putin and his propaganda spreaders, when they are caught before a trial, to be carried in a cage like an animal throughout the country, to show him what he and his liars did to Ukraine.
而且，如果奥德萨被攻下，俄军还可一路西进摩尔多瓦，联合驻守在涅斯特河沿岸地区的俄国维和部队。1990年，涅斯特河沿岸自行宣布脱离摩尔多瓦独立后，在俄军支援下和摩尔多瓦持续爆发冲突，直到1992年7月，摩尔多瓦与俄罗斯签订停火协议。同样不是北约成员国的摩尔多瓦，担心自己成下一个开战对象。
Moldova too is a former Soviet state and has a Russian-speaking breakaway region. This is Transnistria, where 1,300 Russian peacekeepers are already stationed. It has just been recognized by the Council of Europe as an official area of Russian occupation.
We are in between Crimea and Transnistria, so that's a vulnerable region.
I believe if the Russians take Odessa, they won't stop there. I do think we're going to be next.
普丁全面进攻乌克兰，轰炸奥德萨这个曾经象征俄罗斯帝国威望的城市。二战时，苏联军队保卫奥德萨免于毁灭，现在遭遇俄军炮弹破坏，也彻底粉碎奥德萨遗留的俄罗斯情感。